Hey guys, a year ago I got myself a terminal, and let me tell you about it. What is a terminal exactly? Well, basically, historically speaking, it was a display and a keyboard set that was connected to a network, another computer that was doing the actual calculations. And that what it was exactly. You just dial in. The only interface of the terminal was the mostly the dial-up modem or some kind of connection to the mainframe, and that was it. Didn't do any processing apart from processing the display and the keyboard data and sending that over the cables. And you can see here actually two terminals that I'm currently using because the proper processing isn't done when you have a mobile, even isn't properly done on the mobile itself if you're just browsing the internet, but because you're using other resources, but because it is mostly actually currently cloud-based infrastructure, that you don't have that data on your phone anymore exactly when you browse, I don't know, Facebook for example. Or Instagram, you don't have that. So this is one of the examples, but I needed something with a bigger keyboard so I can work from any place and enjoy, full keyboard experiences, and this is what I got. And if you are thinking about getting something similar, well, what are your options? Because if you terminal specifically was done as a device because it was cheap, it didn't require a lot of parts, it wasn't high performance, it was very simple. So you had your display and a keyboard, and in this instance it also detaches because that's a kind of two-in-one thing, and it is touch based. What I really like about this setup, it is 10 inches only, and it has a full-blown operating system, also full-blown, almost fully featured keyboard with a function keys, which is a rarity in that kind of sizes. And I can use a touch keyboard if I need to, I can use a proper keyboard if I need to, those options are still there. For example, if you don't really need a keyboard, because they may be some kind of line of work that doesn't really require you to type a lot of things, just watch or monitor or do stuff like that. So that could mean that you are looking for some kind of Android device. That's a tablet basically, and that can install all applications you need. And in most cases, that would be often a browser, just simply accessing your work applications or any other things you are doing. Just view images maybe. If you are, for example, a real estate agent or anything like that. In my line of work, I really needed a keyboard, and it is a real rarity to get an Android device, especially a modern one with Android 9, 10 or a newer one, that would also have a keyboard attached. And I really hate those cases that have keyboards because they don't have the hinges, and this is very important for me. Because it is really convenient to just use this on your lap. You don't really need to do anything, or just lift it up like so and use it then. So this was really important for me. Also, in my kind of work, I use all of those keys, really all of them. I really like the fact that you can close this down completely and you have everything flash and the screen won't get damaged. For example, you may be also looking at those devices and thinking, well, I need a camera, or I don't need a camera for any kind of conference calls. The thing is that this specific device, it cannot handle any kind of video calls where you have 6 or more people, so that doesn't work great. It has a nice speakers there, fairly fine, perfectly enough. It has a volume control buttons and a power button, and that's basically it. What you may be also looking for are those connectors on your device. So this device, because it has 5 years, it was fairly cheap, around $60 used. So it is still charged using micro USB. It has a proper headphone port, which also you can connect your headset with a microphone. It works really well for those conference calls. you have a proper HDMI out, and this little cable allows you to connect it to your TV. I did that sometime, and it really works great. It also has two fully featured USB ports. This, I don't think it is USB 3.0, but that's enough for what I need it for. It's mostly for a mouse. So other things you may be thinking about is when choosing the operating system, do you really need a PC with a Windows, or is something like an Android enough? And that really depends on what kind of applications you will be using there, because the Windows devices are far less powerful than Android devices in terms of performance. So you know, just for the same price, looking at those devices, also the Windows devices will have a little bit worse battery life. For this type of thing I'm doing, it is mostly for a browser, very simple pages, rarely something more complex like video calls, and usually some kind of other connection to the device I need to either it is a laptop at my home or a device at work that I need to connect to, and this device really doesn't do any kind of processing properly. It is very simple, and it doesn't need that performance. So basically, apart from browsing and using the web services on this device, I'm also connecting to my home PC or any other work appliance that I use at work. And as you can see here, I have a connection to a completely different computer here. And if you know, this is my desktop, this is the desktop remotely that I'm connected to, that I sometimes need to use. It has, you know, much powerful PC that can handle all of those operations that I need, but I don't need to log the huge laptop that I have at home with, and this little tablet doesn't use really that much battery as that laptop does for that complex operation. So I can work still, you know, on the go and have all the power of the PC at home while still having this small device that doesn't have any kind of fan or anything like that. I can use it as a tablet. I can just, you know, lug it around or start running something here remotely and just turn it off. Like so, and that's basically what I'm using this device for, and that's why I think it is a really great idea. So apart from that quiet work mode that I mentioned, the fanless device, you can also use this device for up to 8 hours, even though it has already 5 years. If you have a very new Android tablet, it probably can handle tens of hours, something like that, but you can always connect it to a power bank or a car charger or anything that you can have on the go. So this is really important part. So now some stuff that I wasn't thrilled about. You can see here a tiny camera, and that should be a front camera for video calls. It doesn't work on new Windows builds completely, so everything newer than I think 1809 or something like that. So that's a Windows 10 version. It doesn't work completely. There are no drivers for it. All other devices work quite well, but you will have to spend a lot of time installing them on a new version of Windows, trying to figure out what kind of drivers do you need. And this is where the Android tablet comes in. It usually works out of the box without any problem. Connection to the keyboard is magnetic, and it also has a slot for the micro SD card over here. It should be able to accept a SIM card for the modem, but this little device doesn't have a modem, and I don't really recommend looking for a device with a modem, because if you're looking for cheaper devices like this one, your device will be limited to the 3G, so these aren't a great speeds that you would be working on. It's far better to have your phone connected as a mobile hotspot. So other stuff that I'm not really thrilled about is this keyboard, because you should be able to hear, you can bend it here and it clicks. So every time I pick it up, it will click the mouse, so I have to pick it up on the sides. What I also noticed is this little pinout, I checked the voltages, I checked the data types. This is basically a USB keyboard that has a very weird connection to the tablet. One last thing you may think about when getting a device like this is a display brightness and resolution. This only goes to 120/80 by 800, so a little bit over 720p. That may be not enough for your purposes in terms of resolution, because basically all the applications is quite big. It is enough for me because it is only 10 inches in size. Other thing it is display brightness, because this goes as bright as mobile phone do, but it is far bigger display, so you probably want to have something a little bit brighter. It is really dependent on what place you plan to use this, because if you just will take this to a local cafe shop, it really doesn't matter. But if you will be working, let's say for example on site somewhere outside, you may need to look for a very bright display. And in terms of performance, well, for around $60 this is what you get. You only have 2-core hyper-threaded CPU. That's basically an Atom, and it isn't great in terms of performance. As you can see, it can upscale up to 1.7 gigahertz, but that's the standard speed at 1.3. It has a built-in graphics. This little device only has a 32 gigs of memory. That is enough for a Windows installation, including Office and a browser. But you may want to add a removable micro SD card to that set. Also, it only has 2 gigs of RAM, so that's enough to browse 3 or 5 maybe pages. But if you are just browsing a lot, that won't be good enough. The pages load correctly. Well, it's not a speed demon really. So and it is what it is. It's meant by me and for the terminal purposes only. I hope this video gave you some ideas and what to look for when shopping for a terminal like that, and also how to improve your workflow for the work to not be an inconvenience that you have to lug around with you a huge laptop that you have at home, or a huge or go home to do your work because you just need to click for 10-15 minutes or do something like that. So that was really something that saved me. I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and see you guys next time.